Let's do notes. Not to have quite the same intonation as Catherine, but it'll do. So we're going to do today. Oh, I need a piece of graph paper. You need graph paper today. Oh, I'm not showing it on the screen? Well, that would be crazy. That's good because I got to get a piece of graph paper anyway. And my computer's getting a little wacky on me here, so let me see. Graph. Okay, got a piece of graph paper now. So we're going to do translations. Oh, gosh. Of exponential functions. And another word problem, which is half-life. You might want to because we're going to do a whole lot of graphing today. So I told you that our basic form is y equals a times b to the x. Well, that's not the whole story. And what we've been dealing with for the last 3 days are a's that are always greater than 0. But now we're going to get to an even more general form for an exponential function, which is going to be y equals a, and a can be positive or negative. 0 isn't particularly interesting. Times b to the x minus h plus k. So that's a translation. We've done the translations before for quadratics and absolute value. The h is, pardon me? The k is not. The h is part of the exponent. The k is not. So if you put these in your calculator, you would really need to put the parentheses around the x minus h. Otherwise, the h won't be part of the exponent. But when you see them written on the page, they don't ever put the parentheses around the x minus h. All right, so for my general case, a can be anything but 0. Otherwise, it's not an exponential. So we'll see what happens with a's that are negative now. They'll do the opposite. When we had positive a's and we had a b greater than 1, they went up. When we have negative a's and we have a b greater than 1, they'll go down. Anyway, our b still has to be greater than 0 to make it an exponential. So my h is my left-right shift. Okay, so if h is a positive number, or if I say x plus h, let me write it. Oops, let me get an eraser. If I write x plus h, that's going to be a shift to the left. If I write x minus h, that's a shift to the right. That one always goes in the opposite direction because of the minus h in the formula. And then my k is my up-down. So positive k goes up, negative k goes down, just like we've always done. That's the easy shift. Don't have to think it backwards. All right, so yes. Yeah, so this doesn't relate so well to like a vertex or an inflection point at the HK. So I'm not going to name it like that. Yeah, officially it is, but you're never really going to see why this is an inflection point. You're going to need like a couple more years experience of mathematics before you would see why this HK is an inflection point. So we're just going to call it left and right shifts, and which means we've got to do a little more work to graph these because we don't get to put a vertex down and graph from there. So that's why these ones are a little more difficult. All right, so I'm going to go back and graph something we did before. Y equals 4 times 2 to the x. And I'll use my -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. 4 times 2 to the 0 is 4. 4 times 2 to the 1 is 8. 4 times 2 squared is 16. 16 divided by 2 is 8. Divided by 2 is 4. Divided by 2 is 2. Divided by 2 is 1. Okay. Not so bad. So I'll go -1, -2, 1, 2, and let's see, I need to go up to 8, so I'm going to go 2, 4, 6, 8. -2 is 1, -1 is 2, 0 is 4, 1 is 8, and I can't get anything else on there. Okay, so that's like one we did yesterday. So now I'm going to make my A negative and see what happens. So I'll write this in, I guess I'll write it in red. It'll be easiest to see in red. Y equals -4 times 2 to the x. I'm going to again use my -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. And -4 times 2 to the 0th power, that's just -4. -4 times 2 to the first power is -8. Oh, so -4 times 2 squared, that's going to be -16. So essentially I've just changed my signs here. So let's see what the difference in this graph is. -2, -1. -1, -2, 0, -4, and 1, 2, 4, 6, -8. It is a reflection across the x-axis. So when I have negative a's, they just kind of they take the positive a graph and reflect it across the x-axis. With my a positive and my b greater than 2, my exponential function was increasing. Just by changing the a to negative, even though my b is greater than 1, I get a decreasing exponential function. Okay. So that's translation number 1. Translation number 2. Okay to go on? Nope, not yet. Going kind of fast on these because we have a lot to do today. We'll lecture up to the bell, I think. Because we got 3 more graphs to. I have 3 more graphs to show you. Probably shouldn't have done the last thing that I'll teach you, which is the half-life. But we should have just done the translations, but we thought we could do all 3 in one day. We'll see. We'll see how far we get. It's Friday. You got plenty of time to do your homework. Don't like that argument, do you? All right, onward. Nobody else gives homework but math teachers. Come on, give me a black pen. There we go. New function. Y equals 9 times 3 to the x. And I'm going to make this a k plus 2, which means it's the k shift, so it means I'm going to do the up-down shift. It's a plus 2, so we're going to move our function up 2.